Welcome to the Navigator podcast. Welcome to the Navigator. This session is in conjunction with Lesson 9 of the Navigate Academy, Discovery and Site Survey. With me today is Chris Peterson. So thank you for coming, Chris.
Sure thing. Thanks for having
me. You've been president of I'll say, premier sales management consulting firm for the last 10 years. And you've trained thousands of people and worked with hundreds of companies in the systems integration and security industry. You've proven, because I've met several of your customers, that you're a trusted advisor to your clients and have helped them take their organization to the next level with targeted sales consulting, marketing, and training solutions. One of which is your Vector Firm Academy. And I appreciate that because we've used that as a model when building the Navigate Academy. So thanks for sharing your expertise along the way, and we'll start asking questions.
Oh, please do.
Thanks.
So, Brad, isn't it funny where we're at with these virtual academies?
Absolutely.
And we had the ideas before the pandemic.
Yeah, and now it's just become commonplace. Yeah. So either you were a trendsetter, or other people caught up with you. One of the other.
I'll take trendsetter. That's good.
Okay, got it. So. I work with lots of integrators. How important is the discovery, like a true discovery process, in creating both a successful solution and an executable project?
Well, I'll let you answer about the executable project. As far as, just in general, winning the project, let's say, it's necessary on the operations side. I mean, the world, you've got to have that discovery process be strong, or you guys might be putting in, a system that's not necessarily needed. But just from the overall, from winning the sale to gaining that subject matter expert status, you've got to be able to have a strong discovery process. And one of the things that, one of our core philosophies is that salespeople today, because there's so much competition for what a salesperson does today. It's not just the competition, it's other avenues of gaining information. Whether it's good information or not, it's still information. And I know you have, I know I have, I know probably everybody that's listened to this has gone online to find information out about their healthcare situation before they go see the doctor. And that's for, what many people consider the highest level of expertise of humans is medical care. And we're self-diagnosing. So don't you think someone's going to self-diagnose what kind of system they need in their facility? So because we have to have that subject matter expert status in order to compete with all the information that's out there, we've got to understand the customer's problem. Not just what our solutions are anymore. Customers don't care about our solutions. They can go, where's my phone? They can go right here to get the solution. But I challenge anybody to Google this. Put in Google, what is my current problem? Google's going to blow up. What do you mean? But if you ask them, if you tell them about a problem, they're going to give you all kinds of solutions. So if a salesperson's able to go in and understand a specific problem and have their dialogue be about that problem, then not only are they going to be able to create a very unique solution that's going to position them much better and help the customer in a much better way. It's also going to help the folks on the back end have a much more successful project of doing the installation and the ongoing support.
So, I mean, it sounds like it's more about listening than selling.
It's about listening, and it is absolutely about listening. We have a session called bionic listening. It goes a little bit beyond the typical active listening, but you're right. And it's about looking for clues to problems. If you can find a problem that your customer doesn't even realize they have, watch out, man. They're never going to leave you, because you're looking for things and you're making them better. You're getting in front of things. And so it's listening, but it's also proactively looking for problems.
Got it. Okay. And again, not judging the problem, but it's like really looking at the outcome and what would be the result of solving that problem.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. How, I go through conditions of satisfaction, use cases, those types of things, which are really, how will you know, client, that you've solved your problem? How important are those in really understanding and documenting, and then having the proof along the way when you kind of train or do? It's like going, see, we showed you that it would work.
I think it's a great opportunity for companies, and this, for the organizations that Navigate works with and that Vector Firm works with, a lot of these organizations, they're not multi-billion-dollar publicly traded organizations, and some of them might be, but from a consulting standpoint, a lot of times, most of the time on our side anyway, we work with independent, privately held organizations that are just trying to grow and they're going 100 miles an hour, right? So they usually don't invest time or budget to get these things, the conditions of satisfaction documented or use cases documented. And so that's why I say it's a heck of an opportunity because no one else is doing it usually. And if you can document the success that you've had with an end user, especially in different vertical markets, then you can illustrate to that customer, what you've done for them. And you can also use it as a marketing tool later to position yourself as that expert. Because again, and I use this phrase all the time, that it's no longer about hunting for new business, because they took the hunting rights away from us. There's no, you go to a new customer now, there's no way to see anything but an automated lobby. There's no gatekeeper. You make a phone call, you get voicemail. You end up in junk mail with email. What we've got to do is we've got to be really, really good at fishing, not necessarily hunting. And the way you fish is and fish successfully is by first understanding where the fish are that you want, and two, putting out the right bait. And when they're hungry, they're going to come get your bait. And that bait could be things like use cases, documented conditions of satisfaction, these pieces that illustrate your expertise and your reliability and how good you are. And then, it's funny, you do 15 touches to a prospective new customer, you hear nothing, nothing. Then all of a sudden they call you and they say, hey, we've been reading your stuff for over a year now. We want you to come in and design our project for us. And that's what happens nowadays.
Right.
But you've got to have those, you got to have that, you use the word validating. You got to have documentation that is validating of your expertise. You have to, in order to really grow the way you want to grow. And it's a heck of an opportunity for most of our customers because their competition, they don't usually have it.
Right. Well, I find a lot of people say they sell a solution and you open up the proposal and it's a bill of materials. And to me, you can't differentiate on a commodity. No. What would, you've trained thousands of salespeople. What are your 3 top lessons with regards to just discovery, or again, that fishing conversation or presenting, why us?
First, you gotta really position yourself as an authority, because they've got to listen to you and believe you. See, salespeople have, and I'm not going to drag too long on this, Brad, because it sounds like I'm about to open up Moby Dick and read it to you. I'm not. But salespeople basically have evolved is probably a wrong word, regressed into essentially just filling a need that customers have. I need a quote, I need a price, and I need someone to email that document to that says that I'm going to buy your stuff. And then I need a phone number so I can call you if I'm unhappy. And a lot of that has to do with where technology has come in the last 15 years and how businesses have, I shouldn't say the last 15, but the way businesses have started to use it in the last 15 years to check prices, to get information, and to make, they do all the selling on their own with the computer in front of them.
Right.
Unless a salesperson is able to position themselves as an authority. What salespeople have to do today, if they really want to excel, is they've got to make themselves preferred to an online search. You've got to make yourself preferred to a Google. So one of those, if I've got to get 3 lessons about the discovery process is, you've got to position yourself as an expert during the discovery process. And you've got to do it before the questions. So the big key about the discovery process is asking questions. We've been getting taught that since before you and I were even born. Sales training was talking about that. But today, customers don't want to answer your questions because they feel like you should get your answers online. Why are you bugging me with questions? So you've got to establish yourself ahead of time as an authority to where, hey, I'm going to ask you some questions, and I don't know if you could have the same success with us like your competition has or not, but let me ask you some questions. Now, all of a sudden they're into it because they know you're an authority. You can help them possibly, but they're going to ask you some questions to find out. So positioning yourself as that authority. And then, I like to talk about, and I'll probably just limit it to these 2. I might think of a third, but you've got to push past the technical, even the business. But, we can all get caught up in salespeople, let's say a security integrator, just because that's a world that I know very well. They get caught up in questions like, how many cameras do you think you need? How many panels do you have? How many doors do you want to protect? All that good stuff, right? What's your square footage? Blah, blah, blah. And so then all of a sudden they become somebody who is solving a problem of, I need to buy 14 cameras. So how does Chris differentiate himself from Brad and everybody else? Because they can sell me 14 cameras too.
Right.
But what if I'm able to get past those questions and shift into more business questions, which are, hey, how much loss did you have last year? How much does that get pinned on you in the security department? Boom, boom, boom. And then shift that even further to personal questions. So if you bring in this new access control system, is IT already overburdened? Yeah, they're slammed. Well, who's going to update the system? Well, IT's supposed to. Okay, who's going to back up to IT's? But since they're busy, does that ever fall on you? Yeah, all the time. When do you do it? Well, usually on weekends. So now all of a sudden, your solution is not just helping them meet a need by filling an RFP for access control. That's not the problem you're solving anymore. The problem you're solving now is you're giving them back their weekend. They're not, I'm filling in for IT all the time, and we end up having a hostile relationship. Then I end up having to work on Saturday mornings, and I miss my family on Saturday mornings. I get yelled at for that, blah, blah, blah. If you can shift to that dialogue and have that discussion by asking those questions, watch out, man, you're in great shape. But most people just stick with, okay, 14K, okay, that's cool. Just how many square footage do you have here? And that's all right, great seeing you. I'll have a proposal to you by Wednesday.
Exactly. And now it's just a transaction, right? I have no relationship. Yeah.
That's right. And you don't know their real personal problems. And if you can get down to that level, forget it.
Awesome. I mean, yeah, you don't have to share another one. Those are two awesome guidance. We always ask, our people we interview, what's the book that you're reading, or the book that, is your favorite one to read that really made a difference, and then why that made a difference?
So the book I recently have read that has to do with business is it's a book called Peak.
Okay. Yeah.
There are two authors. One is Anders Ericsson, and the other one is, I don't remember, just a normal. Actually, the other one's a normal name. I don't know how I remember Anders Ericsson, but this talks about just methods of getting to the best of who we are, and it's one of the cool things about it. It talks about all kinds of different people who have excelled at what they've done, but they get down to the legend of Mozart. It's pretty cool where they say Mozart was writing symphonies and playing music at age 4, and they really dug in, and all that we've always heard, what they've discovered is probably not true. Like, he was probably really good, but he had an older sister and his dad was obsessed with making his kids fantastic musicians. So the idea that he just picked up an instrument one day is completely untrue. His dad was obsessed with making both of them world-class musicians. So he probably started playing when he was an infant. And his sister they played every single day, most likely. And the reason Mozart became so darn good is, talent, but he also had a father having him practice every single day. So then it goes into all the other things. The reason I got into this is because for the last about a year and a half, since like the middle of last year, the beginning of last year, I realized that people are learning sales techniques that work in the 2020s, and that we're teaching them. But if they don't figure out how to perform in general, if they don't figure out how to practice and become better at stuff, it doesn't really matter. I can teach you all you want. So that's why I've been kind of obsessed on that. The Rise of Superman is kind of the same. Stephen Kotler, Kotler with a K. Of all time, I would say that I'd say salespeople, what they need to do is, because a lot of the material out there isn't fitting for a salesperson that works for a smaller business. And of course, I'm being self-promoting here. You should come to Vector Firm Academy. But I like material that talks about how to get the most out of what you have, how to manage your anxiety during bad times, right? When you're struggling out there in the field, how to manage that to where you're not wasting time worried about closing this one deal. There's a lot of good stuff out there about that. Ryan Holiday's writing good stuff. Loretta Bruning, she writes good stuff about how to manage that mammal brain we have so that we optimize our time constantly. There's a book called The Power of Full Engagement. I forget the authors. They live here in Orlando. It's awesome about how to your peak energy, and don't try to do an 8-hour day. Do a bunch of little 25 minutes, and just make sure, it's awesome. So anyway, I wish I had a better answer as far as sales books. I've read all of them, but I think a lot of people
that you follow the principles and you can apply those principles anywhere. So
yeah, no, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. I appreciate your time, Chris. So thank you.
All right, man. Thanks for having me. One day I'll see you again in person.
Yeah, someday. Take care.
All right, buddy. See you, Brad.
Bye-bye.